we're going to take 1 minute for 5 people. Okay, each person gets a minute to let them introduce their company, whatever they need to tell about their company. I was hoping Sherry would be first because this was her idea, but she'll get here. So, okay, would you mind being first? Okay, so we got 1 minute for each person. So, yeah, can we use that? Yeah. No pressure, right? Okay, ready?
There we go, here we go. Ready, and Marco?
Yeah.
So hi, my name is Marco Mendez. I'm in the energy business. I'm yoga, tai chi, martial arts realm of things. Health and fitness is what I do. In essence, I'm a light worker. I have a whole bunch of things going on for you. And let's see here. So, okay, yes. Anyone who's looking to complement their health and healing properties, I have classes coming for you. Anything in this basically. So I do this basically for you. I do this for the health and well-being of others. Just so you know, I have some flyers here. I teach a regular Tai Chi class at the House of Authentic Presence. All my contact information is here. I'm doing a Tai Chi beginner workshop middle of October at Harmony Yoga Dallas. If anybody's interested in that, so 2 days, 4 hours. And I'm also with this gentleman here, Mr. Danny Gomez, the health tailor. He's we've combined our forces to do it's a workshop. It's a overall called Lighten Up. It's a holistic boot camp, and that's mind, body, spirit related. It's all about you, what you want to do, your God connection. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sherry, would you mind going next?
I'd be happy to.
Okay, I am Sherry Cook, and my company is Sherry Cook and Associates, and I plan meetings, conventions, trade shows, incentives, and events. Mostly for corporations, associations. So if you know somebody that has a meeting, has a convention or a trade show that they might either like consulting, just what should I do, destinations, where should we go, what shows, then how do you go about planning, what are all the tasks involved. That's the type of thing that I assist people with. Or if there's an internal planner, then I also help coach them. I've only been doing it for over 30 years, and I've had my company 24. So, thank you.
Becky, do you want to explain your company?
Sure. Hi, I'll set my own timer as well on myself. My name is Becky Smith, and I will be presenting next week to you LED light therapy. Some of you may be wondering what the heck that is, so I get to try it out on somebody. I'm looking forward to, for a willing victim. It works on the body on a physical level and energetic level. So on the physical level, it gets into the cells and works at the cellular level. So improving people's lives, really, by reducing pain. We all have pain that we can deal with in all areas of the body. Reducing inflammation and fatigue. So those are some of the major things that the technology does. It increases circulation and energy in the body, and also helps you relax. So, you know, working with some of these techniques that Gary is presenting that we're working in the class, when you put all these together, it's going to be a way increased effect. And so that's kind of what got me interested in the light therapy as well, especially when working with cue statements. So we'll do it next week. Thank you.
Hi everybody, I'm Ruthie Newton, and my business is called Essentially Yours. As a diplomat in a protocol called Spiritual Phytoessencing, which was developed by Dr. Bruce Burkowski, I create custom essential oil blends for my clients. Just as each soul is unique, each plant is also unique. And in many cultures, it is believed that the life energy is within the blood of the individual. And so just because that each cell then is nourished by blood, and that blood is going to contain all the unique personalities and characteristics of that individual. So too, the same with plants. Plants are unique, and they have unique personalities and unique characteristics. And when you parallel that with the energy and life force within the body, within the blood, then that makes essential oils unique in being able to communicate on a soul-to-soul level with your body. And so by creating custom blends that are specific to the client and to what the client needs, and working with some of the therapies that Dr. Berman has, it's an amazing, it just increases the healing rate exponentially. So, thank you.
Hi, I'm Scott Mullen. My business is Texas Wing Chun. I teach Kung Fu as well. If we were on a spectrum, he would be over here, very nice and energetic and being nice. Mine is brutal and efficient and lets you get home to your family. A lot of people don't think that meshes very well with the spiritual side, but it does, because if you have a choice, then you have the choice to get home or not, because people are getting crazier as the days go by. So I teach people how to defend themselves, their families. I help them with picking firearms. I help them with basic self-defense, home orientation to get alarm systems to make sure that people can't really get in and do bad things. And a lot of times that discourages the people from bothering you. If you carry yourself well, especially if you're in spirit and you have something to fall back on, like you know how to do things to people that will stop them from being aggressive, it makes your life a little bit easier, and a lot of times it avoids problems. But some problems cannot be avoided. I wish that were not the case, but it is. Look at Europe right now. Things are going south in a bad way, and it's only going to get worse, and it's heading this direction. So Texas Wing Chun is what I teach, and Wing Chun is WINGCHUN, and it's .com. So TexasWingChun.com.
All of them are very competent. I would encourage you to talk to them, find out more. This is our class. Let's try to help each other. Next week, there'll be another 5 people. Whomever wants to stand, it's yours. Okay? But let's move forward. The best way to move forward is to just deal with the brand new information, and I'll cover some of the old ideas moving forward. We're going to deal with a good part of physics. This is wild physics. This is physics at its limit. It's called consciousness. Now, this is an amazing subject because no one knows anything about it. In terms of we can't calculate it, we can't measure it, and according to physics, then it doesn't exist. And yet, we've had too many years, 300 years of homeopathics. We have prayer showing that we do have action at a distance, and we do know that God is in our life every day and every moment, even if the scientists can't figure that out. There was a beautiful experiment that was done by Professor William A. Tiller at Stanford University. It's a good university, right? This was a 30-year study, 30 years. And here's what the man did. He was hired by our government to do this study where he took a large room and he covered a big, thick layer of lead all over the outside of the room. Now, he did that for a reason, because he wanted to make sure that with this experiment, that no electromagnetic forces of any type, whether they were light, X-rays, or even EMFs coming from our power lines, that none of that would interfere with this experiment. So then what he did was, he divided the room in half, and he took water in sealed containers at a pH of 7, and he split them in 2 separate groups. Now, a pH of 7 means the water is neutral. So there are the same number of acid atoms that there are alkaline atoms in that water, and the 2 types of atoms are completely different. So he split them into 2 groups, and let's say he put one group over here and the other group over there. So in his mind, what he did was, every day for 30 days, he would use his mind to see the pH of the water increase from 7 to whatever number it was he wanted to get. At the end of 30 days, he measured the pH of the water. Now, he only worked on one group. The other group was not touched in any way, even though it was in the same room. At the end of 30 days, the pH of the water increased from 7 to 8. Now, this may not sound like much, but this is the logarithmic scale. So what happened going from 7 to 8, there were 10 times more actin-forming atoms in that same liquid that was closed all this time than there were acid atoms. Now, what happened? How in the world could that have happened? Now, he repeated the experiment time after time after time, 30 years of testing this. So then he decided to go, well, if it works this way, while I'm looking at this, what would happen if I went down the hall? What would happen if I went down to the corner? What would happen if I went down to the edge of my state? What would happen if I went down to the edge of the US? And he went to the other side of the world. For 30 years, he did all this work, and guess what? Every time, no matter how far away he was, he got the same results. Each and every time. Each and every time. So this stuff around us is called consciousness. We don't understand what it is. What we do know, and I know, and you know, that it's our servant. It's trying to help us. It's listening to everything we're thinking. And it's going to give us what we want. Okay? Now, this was so startling to the government because they paid for the research, they refused to publish the results. They wouldn't publish the results. I found this information reading Russian journals. Okay? Yeah. They refused to publish this. Okay? Now, if we go back into history of Masuro Emoto, and this is in the 1990s, you probably remember his work because he was a Japanese businessman who published a lot of work about the crystalline structure of water by injecting our thoughts into the water. Okay? He took water and he would say, thank you, thank you, thank you to the water. Okay? And then he would photograph the water after it was frozen. He would photograph it under a microscope, and he saw a very specific crystalline structure in the water. It looked like 4-leaf clovers, except this were 6-leaf structures. And then each element of the leaf looked like kosher salt. It had a very distinctive crystalline structure. He took the same water and he said, bad water, bad water, bad, bad water. Okay? And he did that, just like that, for a while. He looks at the water again, same water, no crystalline structure, nothing. Never responded. Okay? Now, he went to places like Lourdes, where there was holy water, sacred water, with years of history, of course, of healing. He takes the water, he freezes it, doesn't do anything to the water, and it looks just like the water where he said, thank you, thank you, thank you to that water. Okay. Now this is well published. You can go back to this, you can see it. So what we have is, we have a servant all around us. We have a servant that wants to help us. Call it God, call it consciousness, call it what you want. It's there attempting to help us each and every moment. Okay, it's undisputable. In fact, this whole concept in 1927 created a huge stir in physics. It's called the Solvay Academy that actually evaluated this, and it was Einstein and a group of other physicists, the top physicists in the world at the time, that examined this concept and said, we don't like this. Einstein was one of the people who said, we don't like this, because this is action at a distance, this is spooky. He called this type of situation spooky, because he couldn't understand it. He spent 30 years of his life trying to calculate what consciousness was, trying to disprove it. And he died with a pencil in his hand, still trying to disprove it, and he never did. How can he? Because prayer works. Homeopathics has 300 years of working. It's all based on this concept of, I can take my thoughts, and I can project them, and I can do what I want. The purpose of this class is to do just that, and to optimize it. Because like I said last week, I'm not waiting. We're not waiting to get the results that we need to get. So we're identifying how do we work with consciousness to really turn it on and magnify the results that we want. How do we manifest? Well, we come to our next item right here. Let me go back to what we talked about last week. We go back to the human side. We said the human side was the heart or the brain. The problem with living in the human side, we said eventually we're going to have fear or doubt. From the heart side, if we're working from the brain, anger and frustration. To give you an idea, people from history that have worked in the brain from anger and frustration, Joseph Stalin. Okay? From the heart side, Adolf Hitler. Okay? Hitler, his greatest fear was that his parents were Jewish. And guess what? His mother was. He hated women. He tried to exterminate groups of people because of his fear. Alexander the Great worked from his heart. Okay? All you have to do is ask. You can go back in time and ask, and they'll tell you what they were dealing with. Okay? This consciousness knows no limit. It goes throughout the entire universe. And wherever these are, the consciousness will find them and it'll give you answers. This is amazing stuff when you open up your mind to do this. Our job is get out of our way. Get out of the heart and the brain and start moving towards God. Start moving towards this consciousness so that you can literally even see it, even though it appears to be invisible. You can see it, and you can literally turn it into your servant. Okay? So the way we're going to do it is, we started off with a Q statement. Q is quality of life and living. Okay? We created a technique for doing that. I sent out an email over this last week about being specific. Marco, would you tell them quickly about what you did with your Q statement?
Right,
Would you mind standing?
so specifics, it's being very detailed, right? So after last meeting we had, I thought about, well, what are the things that I really need? And I started thinking about my other business. I own a tattoo studio. So anyways, specific things that I need for that tattoo studio, I need to be around the people that can get me into the right conventions. I need to be around people that can give me the funding I need to upgrade the place, to get into the more advanced sterilization areas. You know, specific things that I need for the shop to elevate the industry. The industry needs a lot of help. On the other hand, I'm a sterilization expert for a major hospital in Dallas, so I know a lot about that industry, and the industry needs a lot of help. So those are some specific things that I've been thinking about.
Sure. Thank you. Now, for you, it might be wanting to be a certain type of person, increasing your business, drawing in more money. I don't care what it is. God's not going to limit you. I'm not going to limit you. It's there for everyone. But we've got to be specific, because this Q statement is a blueprint. It's a roadmap. It's nothing more than a blueprint. The universe, the consciousness, is asking, what do you want? Our job is tell it. And tell it with conviction about what you want. So we started that statement. We did a meditation last week, a 3-step meditation, to allow us to remove the external resistances, the internal resistances, and then start to accept what we're truly capable of having. We did that in our 3 steps, right? Remember that? Okay, we'll go through it again today. Now, I started asking a lot of questions when all this information came to me about 3 months ago. How do we manifest this consciousness? What can we do? Well, one of the first things that came up was to create, once we get past the meditation, the next thing we want to do is we want to create programmed water. We're going to create programmed water. Now, what is programmed water? Well, it's real simple. We have a Q statement. We spent some time doing this. So we've written up a Q statement, and then I just draw the symbol for it. Okay. You can see it, right? Okay. Just a circle with the Q on the side, because remember, when you write your Q statement, you want to put some type of constant line around it, continuous line, so that we are magnifying that energy on your paper. So then I just take a small symbol of it on here, and I'm going to start using color. I'm going to start using the energy of the sun. And I'm going to use my consciousness to start programming liquids, because of homeopathics, okay, 300 years of research there, to start creating liquids for me or you that will help us get to where we want to go. It's real simple. So all we have to do is we need a colored bottle. Now, for those of you who have been my patients for the last month or two, we've gone through very specific colors for you. For everyone else tonight, I would ask you to get a yellow bottle. We can get these yellow bottles. These are glass bottles with a top. I want really clean water for you. And I don't mean just chemically clean. I mean energetically clean. This is a great company that you can get. I'm not going to pass that around. You can order the bottles from there. Okay? They're reasonably priced. I would get 2 bottles for each person in case one breaks. And what you do is very simple. Okay? You put your drinking water in here. Okay? We put our statement on, and we put a rubber band around it. Okay? And then we put this out into the sun, outside. It's put in the sun for a minimum of 4 hours. It's 4 hours, minimum of 4 hours. You can put it longer if you want, but a minimum of 4 hours. At the end of 4 hours, guess what?
Start drinking it.
Throw it away.
start drinking it. But also, this water now inside has the color of this yellow, and yellow is the color of the mystic. It's the color of learning things, of getting secret information. Okay. So, yellow came up as a general color, the best one for people if we don't have time or can't go through the other colors. This is the best one to start with for everyone here. Okay? So we start with this, fill it with water, put it out in the sun for 4 hours if it's a bright day, 8 hours if it's a cloudy day. At the end of that time, you start drinking it. Drink it with your supplements. Drink it before your meditation. It's very valuable to do this, especially before meditation. It works. It's very useful and it's very powerful. Okay. Simple. Okay.
What's the maximum amount of time to have it
Would you
out?
mind saying?
What's the maximum amount of time to have it outside?
Really isn't. Really isn't. But what I'll say is, after about 2 days, once it's removed from the sun, after about 2 days, the energy starts dropping down. So you've got about 2 days to drink your 2 bottles. Okay? Real simple. Yeah. Understand?
What about if it's raining?
It rains, no problem. I've had this out in the rain. I don't care because it's my intention. What I do is this. Good question. I put the bottle down wherever you want to put it. It's up to you. I walk away from it. In my mind, I take just a few seconds to see this image. In my mind, I see the sun sending its rays into the bottle. I see it going through the Q statement, into the glass, into the water, changing the water to a substance that represents every part of my Q statement. It just takes me a moment. All we need is intention. That's it. So if it rains, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it rains. It just takes a moment. That's it. It's done. Is that fast? Yeah.
Does the energy change if you pour it into a glass, or do you keep it in the bottle?
Any way you want. Any way you want. Short of a nuclear explosion, I don't think you can harm it. So it's real simple. Trust it, try it, see what you think. I've had people, without me saying a word to them, the ones that have been going through this for the last month or so, tell me pretty uniformly that the taste of this water begins to taste sweet.
It does,
Yes.
Which means the crystalline structure of that water has been changed, just like they saw with those 2 researchers. It changed. And all we had to do was give it permission to work. Yes, Chris, would you want to stand?
What if we get like a big yellow jug, a glass jug, and leave it by the sun and just have it constant?
No
Does
problem.
that work?
No problem. You can do it that way. Just keep a top to it, that's all. Yeah, that's it. Other than that. So it's that simple. Okay? We're going to be moving step by step through this process using different forms of energy to magnify what we want. And it works. Our job is to get out of the way. Our job is to understand that there's a lot more to this world than we understand. Especially what we can see visually or use our senses to understand. There's so much more. Our purpose is to let God help us. This is one of the fastest ways of doing it. So step by step, we're going to get to the other therapies next week. There'll be more that we'll do. I told you this is wild physics. It is. And it works. Yes.
I'm assuming we can amplify that water by saying thank you to it and saying I love you.
You can. You can. You can also put certain crystals around it if you want to amplify it, but I'm keeping this as simple as possible. Okay? Yeah, there'll be more things we can do, but that'll be another class, another class, another class. Okay? But we're moving fast. We're moving fast. Look, I wanted to get this into you today, and now I'm going to turn the class over to Marco and Sandra for one other reason here. Go back. Right after we do the programmed water, the next most important thing that we need to deal with is breathing and breath work. That is almost as important as this, and this is incredibly high, so is that. So we've got an expert here who's going to guide us through this process. Sandra will take us through the meditation. So Marco, I'll have you take over.
Okay, so everyone got the handout for meditation, matter of fact, passive breathing. As you see, it's mapped out exactly the same as the other handout with 3 steps, and it has some overlay cues as to what's going on in each step. I'll go ahead and go over it real fast. We have deep breathing into the spirit center. Every breath cycle is expanding your sphere, purifying your environment. So the spirit center, by now we should be all pretty familiar with that low area in this belly, just at the navel and just below the navel. That's that intuition, that gut feeling you get. So the breath cycle, one in breath and out breath. That's one full cycle of breath. That's what we're dealing with here. So for step one, as the body expands, so does your sphere. You're breathing in, your sphere is expanding. Step two, the out breath, you're settling deeper into relaxation and calmness every time. Breath in, breath out. Expanding, relaxation and calmness. So on the next part, step two, now here's the thing about it, is that during your meditation and your overall imagining, you have to breathe. There's no getting around that. So you may as well use it. It's the most useful tool that you can have for any given moment in your office while you're doing the dishes. All of these things. It's the first thing you do when you get born. You have to breathe. It's this life-giving energy. In yogic science, which I'm big into, is the prana, that life-giving energy. So, step two. We continue to deepen and slow the breath. The more you get into it, you'll start to really feel this happening inside of you. You'll connect with body, mind, and really start to understand your natural self more and more. And it'll also help clear the mind and keep you more focused on your overall what you're imagining in the process. So during this step, we're allowing the life-giving air to work with God's hands, relaxing even more in God's omnipresence. So the Master Surgeon is doing his thing, pulling the weeds out, still allowing this to happen. You have step three, you're feeling the breath flow naturally, and you're enjoying the flow. So where it may have started as a breathing exercise, it doesn't end that way. You wind up in this enjoyment of this life that's in you, all around you. You're flowing with it freely, very relaxed and calm, and you know that this is working for you. So each breath is working with the Q liquid, filling all the spaces within your body until the mixture of Q liquid and breath escape from your pores and you're emanating this bright light. So that's the basic 1, 2, 3 integration of what we're doing with the breath on those 3 steps. Okay, so it's not just easy to sit down and start breathing and everything will be pristine. There's been a lot, ages and ages of information going into breathing and what works best. So we went through a few things and found a couple, maybe 3 exercises for you that can help. There's so many more. Like I said, I teach Tai Chi, yoga, and it's all breath-based. I also teach like strength training, core training, stuff like that. Everything I do is breath-based. And that's for the intent of balancing the whole body and getting into this highly spiritual feeling. So let's go ahead and start. Let's get into this breathing real fast. Now, to start with, let's say you put your thumbs together, you put them right at the nape, and then you put your 2 forefingers together, create this triangle. That place where the 2 forefingers are coming together at that end of the triangle there, that's your spirit center. It's really in this whole area, but let's just try to focus as low down as you can go. So I see a lot of people's shoulders are up, and we're kind of tight. We're going to get past this. So you can let go there and just relax. And what I want you to do to start off with is just breathe. Just see where your breath is. Breathe deep. I'll show you one. And then let it go. You may have felt some tension in your chest, shoulders, and neck. And we just keep doing this. Just breathe deep. And then just release the body. Feel the body expand and maybe contract a little, and then relax into it on the out breath. You breathe in, and release that breath. It's a very natural thing to do. It's not a major science, but it's all about self-discovery. So, with that being said, I just want you to keep maintaining that breath. And think about yourself lengthening also, getting taller through the top of the crown. Breathing deep. You feel that body lengthen up high, shoulders are relaxed, and let that breath out. Just feel that life flow. It's the freest thing in the world. Okay. Now, to get a little further into this with that same breathing, we're going to try this. It's called yin-yang breathing. The yin-yang breathing, now let me go back a little bit. We've been breathing straight down and straight out into the nose and down into the belly. So we've been stimulating that central channel right down. We have this spine back here. Just imagine your brain and spinal cord straight down the central area. It's your root of consciousness area there. Now, there's also another channel that runs along the left side and the right side. I'm not going to get too complicated about what all that signifies, but there's a way to stimulate that and clean the channel a little bit more down the center and really get that pristine effect that you want and that connection to the God factor in your life. We'll use the forefinger here, and it goes right above the bridge of the nose in the center between the eyebrows. That's your third eye, per se. So we're closing off that central channel. We'll take the thumb. I'm using my right hand, by the way. We'll take the thumb and close off the right nostril. You'll be breathing in through the left nostril. That's an in-breath. Keeping it low in the belly. Now you close off the right nostril, the left nostril, and blow out the right. Breathing in the right now. Close off the right, release the left, and blow out the left. And we keep doing that. Breathing in the left, closing off the left, opening the right, and breathing out the right. Breathing in the right, close that one off, out the left, back into the left, closing off the left, opening the right, and out the right. Just alternating that over and over and over and over. Okay, let's see a little bit about the experience here. It should be overall a very meditative thing to do. You're keeping your hands busy, a lot of energy in the hands. You're keeping your breath busy, keeping your belly busy. It's a connection of mind-body here. So a lot of times the mind wants to go off one way, go off the other way, and it's all over the place. So we're using a lot of things here, natural ways of connecting with our body, getting this breath to flow, and cleaning out that central channel, keeping it busy. So that's another thing about all this is that we're using our whole being to do this. There's a lot of energy that's taking place when you keep your mind so central on this particular connection with this life-giving air. And after a while, you'll discover for yourself what's going on with you and really open up and start to send that energy from the spirit center, open up what's happening here in the heart and get past the brain and connect all the way up into the higher realms, into your spiritual chakras. That's a whole lot of information off the bat, but it's what we're doing here. We're connecting with our spiritual enlightenment. It's your God factor. Now, the other exercise here, we're using fire breath. There's a few versions. Anybody ever familiar with fire breath? 1, 2, okay.
Tumo, that's kind of sounded like Tumo meditation.
I've never heard it called that. It might be. Let's see if you remember. So fire breath is where you might need some tissue. We can start sitting that tissue around. I'll demonstrate first, that way you won't mess yourself up here. So we're forcefully sending air out of the nose and then relaxing. Yeah, just, you might need to clean out, and it's just what you have to do. So what we'll be doing, we're still low in this belly. We're breathing deep. I'll demonstrate first. Get some tissue first. I've already done mine. So we're breathing deep, and then you're just sending it out hard. Okay. Breathing deep, and it's out hard. Now, there's a couple of things here. I'm going to sit down for just 1 second so to simulate what you're doing. So you're here. And what you really want, let's get in the center here so the camera can have a better view on me. So what you want is to get your buttocks. And now I'm being a physician in a way here. Your anal sphincter, your buttocks area, and your lower gut area to tighten up on that out breath. So as you breathe in, you're somewhat loose and relaxed. And on that exhale, tightening that lower area from that belly. And you're inhaling. And you feel that breath just come out. So you're heating up the body at the same time. You have the two extremes of relaxation and tension. Relaxation and tension. So that helps to alleviate the body of some blockages. You may breathe in deep and feel some pain. A lot of times I feel the pain right here in this lower right side. So I use that big breath in to expand the belly. Feel that tension there, straighten up, and then I send that air out, and it helps me relieve those areas that have blocks. There is such a thing known as airs in the body. Air gets trapped inside and things happen like that, so it's imbalances in the body. So we're using the breath to fill up with that oxygen, get it in the blood. We're using Gary Berman supplements, so we're well with a lot of nutrients and getting that blood going into areas that need it, into the organs and whatnot. So this is all helpful in alleviating pain and suffering. That's what we're trying to get past. A lot of the blocks in the heart and the brain, getting deep into that breath. So with all of that, let's do how much more time do I have? Is that
about another 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do a little bit of more fire breath. We'll just, let's say 10 rounds. Let's get going. We'll breathe deep and exhale. This is your relax and tension. See how deep you can go. Full emptying. By now you might feel a little tingly sensation in the body, maybe a heightened awareness, things are looking very clear and bright and white. Maybe with time, you could be releasing toxins inside also, and it could cause a little dizziness. That's a sign to back off a bit and get your composure back into some normal breathing. You don't want to pass out with this. You just want to be very natural with your overall tension in the body and release that stress. So from that, we have a few minutes. Tell you what, let's use a little bit more of this what we started with, just the basic breathing, and feel your body out. If you want to go ahead and close your eyes and just feel this breath come through the nose, fill up your head, go down deep into the belly, and then come out front of the body and back out the nose again. You're just breathing. We'll call this the orbital breathing pattern. It comes in the nose, over the top of the head, down the spine, deep into the belly, and then it comes back out the front of the body and out the nose again. We're keeping this constant, slow cycle of breath. There really is no end to this. You'll be doing this for the rest of your life. the deeper you dive into this, you will discover worlds within you. The universe is there for you. And as you keep doing this, you're relaxing more, getting more calm. Go ahead and start giving a thank you. It's just gratitude. Every breath is thank you, giving more gratitude for living. You've been given this space to work in. This is all about you. To just feel that energy flowing inside of you, opening up and releasing out the old. Every breath coming in with new life, cleaning out, and the old goes out and away, far away. Every inhale is pure light and love. On the exhale, it's relaxing more. Starting to feel that presence of the source, of that infinite creator. Now's a great time. You've been giving this gratitude, feeling this love in your heart, releasing this energy that's been bound up, being true with yourself. It's a perfect time to start imagining. See yourself on this plane, this platform. It's your perfect self. You're smiling. You're on that plane, just giving gratitude over and over. You start to see that sphere develop around you. And every in-breath, that sphere is expanding. On the out-breath, relaxing.